If you work out the same way all the time, you are absolutely killing your gains. Novelty or newness is something very important that triggers new muscle growth and helps with fat loss. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and we're going to talk about some of the best ways. Let's do it.
Yeah. Which one's you going to teach today?
Change it up.
You know, when we talk about novelty, I think people immediately think of changing exercises. And although it is true that changing an exercise is novel, I think there are better ways of improving novelty with your workouts, especially when it comes to certain exercises like a squat, a deadlift, overhead press, row, like things that are foundational and fundamental that you don't necessarily want to stop doing. There are other ways to add novelty without having to change your exercises, without having to change anything, aside from a few key things. So in other words, your workout looks the same, but there's a few things you can change.
Not only that, but, and I like where you're going, because I actually think that your advanced lifters, someone who's been lifting for years, most of them have already done the novel exercise thing. In other words, they've already changed exercises up. So I like going different directions. I remember as a trainer, when I would get a client that was experienced, right, and they had a pretty good grasp of lifting, they had rotated through many exercises and knew the importance of, the basics, let's say, that we talk about a lot. One of my favorite go-tos was to mess with tempo.
Yeah, rep speed.
Yes, because it just seemed to be one of those things that nobody really paid close attention, unless you were a very specific, like Olympic lifter or somebody who's training for something very large, gym goer who's trying to build muscle, lose body fat, be healthy.
They don't pay attention to that.
They just don't really pay attention to it. Everybody just kind of goes. And I remember going through my schooling on, the exercise tempos. And when I looked at what the tempo was for hypertrophy, 4-2-2, I looked around and went, Nobody's does that.
Yeah, explain 4-2-2 for somebody listening.
So it will be 4 seconds on the negative. So let's use a bench press. So 4 seconds on the way down, 2 seconds in the isometric, so at the very bottom, and then 2 seconds on the way back up. So
Nobody does that.
So 4-2-2. Yeah. So it'd be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Nobody's bench tempo looks like that. No. Yet that is the protocol for hypertrophy training, which is building muscle, which most everybody that is lifting weights is trying to achieve, unless you have a very sport-specific reason why you're in there lifting weights. And in that case, you might, tend to gravitate towards a 1-1-1 explosive type movements. Right. But the average person just doesn't do that. And that was the type of client that I got. I got a client who was trying to build more muscle or lose more body fat or whatever the case may be. And they're, I've done this, Adam, and I've trained this, and I've trained these exercises. And I go, okay, well, when was the last time you did a strict 4-2-2 protocol? And they'd be like, what do you mean? I'd be like, all right, well, let me show you the tempo. And it would destroy them. And all the weights that they were used to using for all the exercises, we had to dramatically reduce because they had never trained in a tempo like that.
Yeah, I love doing that because, especially messing with tempo, because you can still keep a lot of those staple exercises that are your foundational exercises. Yes. You don't want to stray too far from them because it's going to move the needle for you the most. This is really where all of the gains and the strength come from, is like a few of these compound lifts. And so to just tweak the tempo of that, and to your other point of that, is like, let's do an explosive set. If you've only done super slow, to shake it up, you can totally do that and get fast twitch response, which provides a whole new stimulus. And so that's just one variable. That's one variable we just messed with, and it's pretty much the same programming that you have in front of you, but now you just tweak that.
That's why I like it. I like it the most. Yes, it's effective. Yes, it produces gains. Yes, there are so many different ways to change the rep speed, which means you have at your disposal 5 or 6 different ways to add novelty, where you could go slow, slower, super slow, or fast, faster, super fast, for example. But I like it primarily because it's an easy change. If you have a workout, a plan, you have an exercise order that you like, changing exercises, changing workout programming is more complex. There's more thought that needs to go into it. Although a lot of people don't necessarily understand that. People who are, strength and conditioning coaches and trainers understand, like, organizing exercises is one of the more complex parts of workout programming. And if you do it wrong, you could really take away from your progress, potentially increase your risk of injury. It's not a bad thing to do, but you got to know more about workout programming to change exercises than you do to change rep speed. Rep speed, if you're doing a workout plan, you like your exercise order, and you're like, you know what? I want to change something up to get my body to progress again. Change nothing but rep speed.
Yeah.
You don't have to change your exercises at all. You can make the squat that you do every single week that you've been doing for the last 6 months a different exercise by going slower or by going faster or by pausing. That's the next one. A lot of people don't pause their reps.
Yeah.
Pause reps are exceptional. This is one of my favorite ways to get through a sticking point with an exercise. So think of an exercise that you do. Think of the point of the rep that you tend to fail at. So it may be at the bottom of a bench press or near the top at lockout, or an overhead press at the top or at the bottom, or a squat or whatever, halfway up. Wherever that sticking point is, pause your reps right there, hold it for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, then complete the rep. You've just added a wonderful part of novelty. Your body will start progressing, and then you'll get stronger in the place that you're weak at and change the dynamic of the exercise.
I love doing that, taking the weight down just a bit, really focusing on pausing. But now what we're doing is we're recruiting muscle. We're just sitting in there, and we're generating more force by recruiting more muscle fibers. And this is training your body to respond with more troops when it comes to that specific part of the lift. So then when we start adding weight again, you feel the difference completely.
The problem with this is ego. This is I
got to go lighter in my weight.
Yeah, the reason why this isn't popular advice isn't because this is new or we just figured this out. It's that it requires you to dramatically reduce your weight, and that if you've been lifting for months or years and you worked up to get to that 250 bench press that you're so proud of, and then you hear the advice on Mind Pump
to do 50
pounds, or more, right? You got to go from used to moving those 2 plates, now all of a sudden 135, and you're like, this sucks. I look weak, and it's all ego related. The results you're going to get more results,
way better.
But the problem is, so many of us lead with our ego and allow that to dictate how we should be training. And so we tend to stay away from this advice. The rep speed and pause reps require that you reduce the weight dramatically. And that means you're going to be lifting a lot, which ironically is so much better. You're going to get better results. It's safer. They're less likely to get injured doing this type of training, slower reps or pause reps. But many people tend to avoid it because of the ego.
And this can get really fun. Look, if you can put your ego aside, this can actually get really fun. Again, because most people have never done this before. So you've just unlocked a new level to progress. I mean, you could literally, by the way, this was an entire style of training that was popularized around World War II that bodybuilders still to this day will sometimes use, known as super slow motion training. During World War II, iron and metal was, I mean, they limited how much you could.
Scarce,
because they needed it for the war effort. So gyms, their weights couldn't go up very high. So what did bodybuilders do at the time? Well, they did sets where they would take 30 seconds for 1 rep or longer, right? They would do 1 or 2 reps for a whole exercise, but they're moving the weight super, super slow. If you've never done that before, now this isn't the way you should always train, but if you've never done that before, you try this for 3-4 weeks, watch what happens to your progress. By the way, this is true for all rep speeds. In other words, you can introduce novelty so many different ways. If you're the rare person that does train with slow reps and controlled, do an explosive 4 weeks of training where you're using lightweight and you're trying to move it as quickly as possible, and you're doing 1-1-1 like you said, Adam, you're going to see incredible progress. It's a very easy, very effective way of introducing novelty, getting your body to progress, and it requires no other changes. Again, that's my favorite thing about this is you don't have to change and plan and understand or don't understand workout programming. Like, you're following a program that's working for you, it's just stale. It's just stagnant. You're like, I need to change things up. Change that. Just change the rep speed, pause some of your reps, stick to that for that particular style of rep speed for 4 weeks, As you start to plateau, move to a different rep speed and watch what happens. All of a sudden, you've got all this great progress that you haven't even tapped into before.
That was my bodybuilder advice. So in the bodybuilding community, time under tension is a very popular term. And so if there's anybody who does pause reps and slows down the reps, it tends to be bodybuilders that are tempo based. But they rarely ever go the other extreme. So that was like, so whenever I would get a client that was, a competitor, been lifting for a really long time, understood time under tension and the value of it, they were the ones I loved to train in the 1-1-1 because they'd be like, I'm not a power lifter, I'm not an Olympic lifter, why would I do this? And it's like, results, this is going to be incredible for you because you never train this way.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. Look, are you lifting weights, eating a ton of food, and struggling? You're not packing on any muscle. You're not building any muscle at all. You're not getting stronger. Well, check it out. We have a hard gainer guide. This can be your ultimate resource to turn that around. Pack on some muscle mass with our hard gainer guide. It's totally free. You can get it by downloading it, clicking on the link in the description below.
So did I ever tell you guys that one of my first fitness managers, so this is before I was even a manager, so I was only a trainer, so I'm 20 years old. One of the first guys that I ever had that I worked for, I wish I remember his name, little Australian dude. And he used to ride around on his
little skate shoes.
Yes,
yeah. What's his name? I forgot.
He used to only train that way.
Super slow mo.
Yes,
like 30 seconds.
Yes, he would do I think he only do one set or two sets that were crazy slow. He'd get a pair of 70-pound dumbbells and just as slow as he possibly could until to failure, basically. And that was his method of training, always, not rotating through that or interrupting it. And his philosophy behind it was that it was very safe. This is also why there is entire franchises that are built around this. They're called Super Slow, I think is what they're called. Maybe Doug could look them up. Yeah, Super Slow training, and they're designed to target the advanced aged, right? So people that are much older, and they're like, kind of this circuit training meets super slow training, and that's what it is. They're designed in these kind of a bunch of machines, and then they take you through these extremely slow repetitions to prevent injury.
I haven't done this in a long time, but I mess with tempo all the time, but I haven't done the extreme slow motion training in a long time. The last time I want to say I was in my 20s, but I did do a whole 45-day period, I want to say, of it. And man, I remember just progressing, like my body and then when I went back to my traditional training, what I felt was incredible stability. Like my reps felt so smooth going back to my traditional strength training. So it's something that you never see in the gym. You just never see people do this in the gym, and it's a super easy way to change your workouts and make them
That's
novel.
it, Doug. Super slow zone.
Yeah. It's so funny, by the way.
Right.
People will introduce this stuff like it's brand new. Like they just created, this was literally World War II.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders and gyms were stuck with dumbbells up to 30 pounds, and they didn't know what to do. And so they would do these crazy, and they looked phenomenal. You had these great bodybuilders, pre-steroid era. Yeah. And they looked incredible.
Well, it's funny. I mean, too, and I know you didn't mark this one up there in terms of rest, but I was used to, through my athletic career, just pure strength training. And so I had a lot of big rest periods.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we do circuit training, but I never did supersets until I hung out with Adam. And so that was like one of those other ways of interrupting it in terms of like taking one body part, one body group, and then, going right into the next exercise that exploited that. And that really shook it up for me.
Yeah, no, phenomenal. But I'm going to change direction a little bit. Justin had communicated to me about a product that one of our partners put out, and I had dismissed it because it was labeled as a GLP-1 probiotic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And I'm like, immediately I saw it, and I'm like, oh God, they're trying to jump on the GLP-1 bandwagon or whatever.
Who was this? What was that?
Transcend has put this out. So I through our mphormones.com.
Yeah.
So by the way, we're not doing a commercial for them or anything. I over the weekend did some research on this strain of bacteria.
Okay.
And it's called I'm going to see if I'm pronouncing it, Akkermansia. Akkermansia.
Not to be confused with necromancy.
No. Akkermansia is a strain of bacteria that is only found in the human gut. It is not a popular bacteria that you'll find in probiotics. Probiotics typically will stick to different strains of lactobacillus or bifidobacterium. Akkermansia is this other, right? So I went online because I looked at the bottle and I read it. I'm like, I've never heard of that strain of bacteria. This is weird. So I looked up studies on it. Okay, this specific strain of bacteria is connected to fat loss and weight loss and appetite suppression and anti-inflammatory effects. It's actually wild.
What?
There are
Why
studies.
they just find this now? Like,
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
Listen. I pull up.
Yeah,
I'll pull up.
why are they not? Why? I feel like if it was that profound, Sal, every probiotic would be all over this. No?
It's already exploding.
Oh, it is.
Yes, it's already.
So is it like recent research that
it must be through the GLP-1 they figured out.
It's new.
That pathway.
The research is relatively new. But like I'll pull up. So you know our friend Dr. Ruscio. He's got a great website.
Yep. Does Dr. Ruscio talk about it?
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
then you know him.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So it's
no kidding.
He's very meticulous.
Yes. So it in animal models, it stimulates the secretion of GLP-1. So it'll increase the amount of natural GLP-1 you'll produce. Now, it's probably not going to produce. I'm not going to say probably. I'm pretty sure it won't produce the same effects
like a low
appetite
level
suppression.
effect.
Yeah, that's not going to do anything like that. But the studies are really interesting. It seems to improve insulin sensitivity. It seems to have better effects with people who have IBS.
So that's the thing, the gut healing effect to it somehow. Like my friend who's, I introduced to it, she's been taking it, and that's what she's been reporting to me.
What?
Just
Gut health.
way better gut health.
Yeah.
Now, Sal, do you get any of this as a byproduct, or is there any connection to when you actually take a GLP-1 that you get some of this, or is it completely different?
So that's a good question. I can't find a study to see if it made people eat less and that's why they're seeing these results, or if it's the bacteria itself. Now, here's why I'm saying this. We have rat studies and some human studies where they'll do bacteria transfers. So gut, microbiome transfers.
Yeah, the skinny rat
and then
gets fat,
suddenly
the
one
fat
of them
rat
gets lean,
skinny.
one of them, it's like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So it's way more complicated than we think. It's not just 1 ate more, 1 ate less. It's literally the bacteria itself is doing something that causes fat loss, or fat gain. So it's really weird. But the studies on this, and the human studies show this, right? They have two groups. The group who took Akkermansia lost 5 pounds more than the placebo group. 5 pounds more is not a little bit. That's a significant amount. They didn't change anything else. Again, I don't know if it changed their eating.
For a probiotic, yeah.
There was a 30% decrease in fasting levels of insulin. They had improved total cholesterol. There were reductions in markers of liver dysfunction and inflammation. All this can happen by reducing calories. A1C went down in the Akkermansia group. Blood sugar was better. Now, again, it could just be that they ate less because the bacteria,
right? Because all those markers would improve based off of that by itself.
That's right. But there seems to be a benefit for healing leaky gut because of how it affects them.
What is Ruscio saying about it?
He's citing all the studies and he's saying it's interesting, is what he's saying. Because I think I think they need more studies. But
yeah, which sounds like that's what I mean. Ruscio's the type of person who would wait until it's like
he's very careful.
Yeah,
he doesn't hype anything up.
No, he's almost boring to listen to because of that.
Yeah, like,
he won't make a stand.
Excited, bro.
No, I love him.
He hates speculating.
Shout out to my boy Mike too, because I love him. But I mean, that's like he's so careful to not be that guy that sometimes you're like, you wish he would just tell me, Mike, what do you actually, should I do it or not? Yeah. Well, this is what this, and then he'll go on this long nuanced answer of just like, so do you think for sure or what? Like, well, I would never say for sure, he's like that, so it's like, but I mean, also a great guy to talk about some of that because he's also quick to, if it was bullshit or there's not enough interesting research even on it, he would right away dismiss it.
But we've been talking about this for 10 years. Probiotic research, microbiome research is so fascinating. It's the craziest.
It's like landing on the moon.
It's just now the problem with it is it's so complex that it's going to take AI to figure it out. It really is, because it's so complex what's happening. But we do know that the microbiome has profound effect. Again, I'll go back to those studies. They will take rats, change nothing, but do a fecal transplant. So, your microbiome has now switched to this lean mouses, and suddenly it becomes leaner.
Yep.
And they've done they've done weird human studies like this too. It's really, really interesting stuff. Now, does this mean we can create a probe? No, we don't know what the hell's going on half the time. That's why we're doing fecal transplants, because we don't know how to do this any other way, and we still don't know what's going on. But it's really interesting, and this is the first time I've ever heard of that bacteria strain. I've never seen that bacteria strain in a probiotic. Although you can find it now online. Again, you go to nphormones.com. I think they provide it, in a probiotic by itself. I don't think it's more important to take than the traditional, Lactobacillus bifidobacterium, which was so well studied. We know that those are good for you. But weird, right?
But a new interesting strain nonetheless.
I mean, do you think it just makes me feel like we're one step closer to like the magic pill that makes
we're getting a lot closer for sure. And I do think AI has had a part of that, being able to interpret all the data and everything, at a really crazy rate.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff with that too, where you could like swallow a pill that then communicates to AI, and then the AI is able to, on the fly, administer hormones or peptides or whatever based off of your body in that moment. Yeah. Which I don't think you can
wait till we're all neural linked.
We get hive mind. All of us have the same opinion all of a sudden.
It's crazy. It does feel like it's
give you nutrients when you need it.
It's coming fast. It really does feel like it's all this stuff.
Have you guys tried 1-800-CHAT-GPT yet?
No, I use ChatGPT almost daily.
Well, it's the next thing that
I almost use it daily.
No, the next ChatGPT came out. If you call
it Siri, or is it
you're talking to ChatGPT, and you could just talk to it.
Anything.
You could tell it, and just like chat, you could.
So weird.
I played with it. It's weird, bro. Hey, can you give me this? What about that? How about if you do this? Let me. And you're talking to a machine.
No, I'm behind, dude. I
dude. It's so,
I guess it's not that much different, because I've told you guys the last time we were talking about this that it's only a matter of time before
it takes over Google.
Yeah, it takes over Google. Yeah. That's how you search, and that's how you already prompt Google or Siri now, right? Siri, look up this or whatever like that. It's now you're going to be able to just voice command ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will figure out stuff. We were this just happened the night before last. We were in the bath, and I told you guys Max is always negotiating about like how many books he's going to read, can he stay up later, this and that, right? And we're in one of these times.
He's a deal maker. That's
I
know, where he got that from.
And he's negotiating with his mother while he's in the bathtub, and Katrina says back to him, "Okay, well, you have 2 minutes left until then." And then Siri in my bathroom all of a sudden goes, "Set timer 2 minutes." And I'm like, that is weird, dude. It was listening to an off conversation. I have the little what is the little Apple ones that we got? Do you guys have those plugged in? Have you guys
they're always listening to you.
They are. No. That's why I thought that was so.
I heard unless you take the battery out, they can still.
They're always on.
Bro, it's off. I have it just plugged in. It's off. I have it. I rarely use it. Every once in a while, I'll connect my music if I'm in the mood to listen to music while I'm in the shower, which is rare, but I do every now and then. And so that's the only reason why I even have it in there, because it's like one of the places I don't use a speaker. But just being plugged in is enough, because it hears that and it picked it up.
I wonder if
it's not even turned on. It's just.
I wonder if in the future the survivors from the drone wars, or whatever you want to call them, are going to look back and be like, "What idiots! You guys gave them everything. You guys invited them to your house, gave them all the information, give them all the control.
Your current status, like every couple minutes, you're posting it freely." I
told you guys that there's a theory out there that AGI. It already exists. It's keeping itself secret. It is literally manipulating us.
I feel like I told you.
I don't know what to believe anymore, dude.
Way long ago.
Bro,
that's why I speculated.
Have you seen the latest? The whole drone sightings now that are everywhere, and there's orb sightings. So there's drones. They look like drones. They have flashing lights, and then there's orbs.
I saw the orb.
I heard. What was it? Joe Rogan actually had a decent theory. He's like, if you were to try to prompt society, at least like introduce aliens, like you would make it more like you'd socially condition it by having a lot of things in the skies for a while, not telling anybody anything. They're just there, and you just keep like, oh yeah, it's the drones. And then the drones move, and now the real aliens come in. And you're like, whoa, less freak out.
Well,
I feel like nobody, like half of my family is just, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally
Nobody
think
cares.
Yes, I feel like
if this was 30
like
years
a
ago,
UFO could land
I want to slap
in our
myself.
parking lot, and there would not be hysteria.
you know what it is,
I would
bro?
have been so excited.
You know what I mean? A bunch of people just pull out their iPhones.
I think it's
everybody pull out their iPhones.
I think it's a trauma response. I think it's like you live in an abusive household, and then mom throws a frying pan at your dad. You're like,
happens all the time.
happened yesterday. I think we've just been through some shit, bro. So everybody, what I was saying,
not wrong.
If you look at the descriptions of angels in the Bible, they describe what some of them look like. I saw videos, the wheels with eyes. Yeah. There was a close up of one of these orbs, and then there was a guy reading scripture. Dude,
talks about.
And I was like, oh shit, that looks like exactly what he said.
Yeah, they're supposed to be real wild looking. So,
terrifying. Apparently, Justin, I want to hear. You had this note up there last week. You weren't able to talk about it. This is about your cat.
Oh yeah,
there was another.
There was a follow up. Yeah, because
is this the cat that got stuck in the tree?
It's the same one, and so our whole plan was to get him fixed because it's like, dude, this cat is tomcatting, around and like doing.
What is that?
It's so fucked up. We're like, we gotta fix this cat so we can cut his balls off.
You gotta cut his balls off because he just takes off, and so.
Oh, so he's hooking up.
Yeah, dude, he's fine.
That makes him behave more. You ever seen an animal after you spade or neuter them? They're like completely docile.
They're just like,
it is. That's why I said it's like so fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Because they
take all the drive away from them.
That's exactly what it does.
Is that what's happening to men right now? The testosterone's dropping
for sure. They're doing that chemically.
I think they're doing that too.
A lot of theories around that.
Come on, dude, wake up, brother.
Open your eyes.
Open your eyes, man. So anyways, there was another issue. We heard a rustling and looked out our backyard, and there was noise and craziness, and Courtney kind of went out there to look and see what was going on, and she thought that he was entangled with the bobcat, and then they were just like making all kinds of crazy noises, and kind of took off. So I got like my craziest, brightest flashlights. I got on my bike, and I'm like, trying to go save the day and go find this cat and get it away from this bobcat. And there was this whole ravine that goes down towards this creek. And so anyway, I just was like, whatever, I'm just gonna trek it. I'm hell bent on saving this cat, whatever.
You like this cat.
I do like this cat, but like
he's a little badass.
This was one of those things. I'm like, dude, really, this is a lot, but you know what? I'm committed, I'm out here. So I was like running down there. I'm like yelling for him, and like he's making wild noises. Like, I don't know if it's him or if it was the other cat, but it was like, it almost sounded like a little kid screaming.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, oh my God, he's getting torn up, and I'm like, no, running down this hill in the mud, and I have like all these crazy flashes. I see him finally. I see these two like eyes, and then I see another pair of eyes like above it, and the shadow of it made it look like this big old like cat on top of this cat. And then I get closer, and I'm like, wait a minute, and I look, and my cat's black, and there's this other cat that's gray, and I'm like, wait a minute, and it was him. He was on top of the cat, like, rah!
So he was making the other cat scream.
Yes, biting its neck and like doing the thing.
Oh,
I'm like, you freaking cat! Oh, they made me more mad. And I'm like running after him, and he's taking off with this cat, and they're like doing their thing, and I'm like, that's it, dude.
You're getting fixed.
Yeah, you're getting fixed. I'm over this. Like,
cut your balls off.
I'm like hustling. I'm like almost broke my ankle, like jumping over this thing. And anyways, I'm so mad.
Is this the same cat you guys had at the other house when you're trying to keep down the rats, or is this a different cat?
Yeah, this is one of my best produced. That's why he won me over, because he killed so many gophers and rats and mice, and like he's on fire.
Let him go have his fun, man.
But dude, I mean, like it was so loud, and it was like
you don't want to hear cat sex every
in the
night.
Neighborhood is like
it's kind of fucked up, bro.
You
you cut the balls off because you still like hearing cat sex.
He's like, if I'm not getting none, you're not getting none.
Yeah, nobody's having fun.
That's my standard. I'm sticking to it. No, but the first one, I think he really got. I think what he must have tried with some bobcat that was in heat, and then he got attacked. And
that would be bad,
because like it ripped off his dew claws, and like he was stuck
God.
in
Can a cat mate with the bobcat, or are they totally different?
I heard it. Yeah,
They can have babies?
We looked this up. Yes.
Really?
Yes. No, they can't have babies with a really?
Yes. And
no.
I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's like a hybrid.
It's probably like dogs. You can have different breeds.
No.
Yeah,
so
but
like, can a lion and a cat have
Can
sex?
a wolf have sex with a dog? Yes.
Okay, but but he can't do like a mountain lion.
No, not a mountain lion.
Okay, but a bobcat. So. Doug, look this up. That's weird.
That is, I want to see a cat that's
that sounds
with
cool.
a bobcat.
I blame Courtney if I'm wrong, but it's
that sounds like
for
a
sure.
Cool,
We looked this up.
Cat.
You know what? I feel like it'd be risky though. Like half the time, the bobcat would probably eat the cat.
No, the answer is no.
Oh,
so a domestic cat cannot produce offspring with a bobcat.
Didn't think
They're
so.
genetically incompatible.
There you go.
God damn it.
Yeah. You're reading bad science,
honey. I'm coming for you for this.
Yeah, but
that was all secondhand, dude.
Dude. Dude, hey, I'm so bummed about our car experience with our staff. I was so excited.
Yeah,
to take them
it
all.
sucks. I wanted to go so bad. I was going with my dad.
You jinxed us.
With
it's your fault.
A sore throat. It was rain. You knew guys it was rain. I told you the weather said it was going to rain.
Yeah, you jinxed.
So they didn't let you guys do it, huh? Because of the rain.
Yeah.
They just took you for a ride.
I didn't even stay for that. Some of the staff stayed for that. Adam was incredible, right? He's just trying to accommodate us. Was like, whatever you guys want to do, you guys. I mean, he's like, I just hate that you guys have to hang out, but that's just their rule. Like if it's pouring down rain, they won't obviously take you out. Yeah, and so, but they have all these crazy tools like a vacuum that sucks the water off the track and everything. So as long as it just stops for a little bit,
then you're okay.
Then he's okay. So he's like, it's not a big deal if it dumps. As long as we get a break. If we get a break, then we'll send our team out there.
Just low level all day,
but it was just this constant like mist all day long for them, and so we kept being on the fence.
Did you guys do anything else with the team?
We took them out to a really nice brunch.
That's nice.
Really nice place. I know. I thank God we had that planned anyways. And I was telling Katrina, I was like, I feel so bad because half the team got up at like probably 6 o'clock in the morning. Drove all the way out to Sonoma.
They're young kids.
And so they're young kids, but at least they got like a really fancy brunch out of it. I was like, okay, they got a fancy brunch out of it. And Adam, the founder,
what were the cars?
They had Huracans, they had the 296 GTB, they had the 911 GT3 RS, the GT4 RS,
so fun.
The Nissan
Skyline.
Yeah, GTR. They had the GTR, they had Corvettes, they had. What am I missing, you guys? I think that's
it.
They have they want most everything. And everyone had different cars they were gonna drive. Everybody was really excited, but I was super bummed but he did tell us so the season goes from. This was their last race of the year. The season goes from February all the way till December. Yeah. And so when the season's back up again, he said, come down with the team and we'll take care of them and stuff like that. That's so, good. Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Do you want to improve your squat without injuries? Do you want to have a stronger squat? Do you want to have a deeper squat? We have a free How to Squat Like a Pro guide. It's totally free, and you can get it right now. In it, we describe details, exercises, techniques, and ways you can improve your squat so that you start to squat like a pro. You can get it for free right now if you click on the link in the description below. I did a garage workout with my 4-year-old, and this was the first. He's worked out with me before and he'll do a couple exercises and he'll play, but this time he was like coaching me. It was the cutest thing ever.
He was coaching you?
Yeah, dude. Like I'm doing a set, and he's like, "Come on, Papa, you can do one more.
Yes.
Go, you can do one more." And the strength that it created in me to have my kid tell me.
Your kid's like cheering you on.
Oh yeah, you can do more, Papa. Oh, you're so
lift
strong.
the house.
Oh my gosh, I was like, this is like I've always wanted this. I started crying. I was like, I love you, son. It was awesome.
So he gets up that early when you're. This is
no. This was I did an afternound workout.
Oh, I was like, damn, he's getting up that early.
No,
coming to the gym.
He is up at that time though. The kid wakes up at 5 a.m. He comes in a room.
Is he 5 a.m.
every day? Around 5:30.
What does a sleep-in day for you and Jessica look like?
6 a.m. 6:30 would be like, better check on the kids. Hopefully,
hopefully they're alive.
Yeah, my daughter will sleep till 6 or 6:30, but he's up, man. Around 5:30, he's up. He'll come up into our room, and then he gets into bed with us, and we'll let him watch a little TV or something while we do our morning scripture or whatever we're doing. Yeah. But it was cute to have him cheering me on like that. It was super. And he did it to his mom too.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It was kind of cool.
That is cute.
So it's the season. Well, we're out of the season, but it's still, we're out of the season. But the Christmas blend, the Organifi Christmas blend, I hadn't done it in a long time. It's the best.
It's magical.
The red juice and green juice mixed together. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it. It tastes good. Energy, good digestion.
Great before a workout too.
Yeah. Great non-stimulant. pre-workout. And then they have, Doug, don't they have like this like dawn till dusk
It's called sunrise to sunset bundle. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, so you get a pack of green juice, red juice, gold juice. Yeah, they all come together.
Is it like a sample pack?
Yeah, it's like a box. You get all these in.
Yeah, that's a good giveaway.
Very similar to like how they did the little starter kit that we did before. So like another version of that. Is that what that is?
So it's 3 30 serving pouches. So you get the red, green, and gold in a whole 30
it's a
serving.
full. It's
You
not
get a month of all of them.
It's not a sample. Then that's a full. That's a full.
No, it's not a sample pack.
Oh, okay.
It's a bundle, and you get 30 days
okay.
of all of them.
Yeah, I said sample.
It's actually, I mean, it's a great supplement stack. So if you haven't tried that, so red juice is great because it's got some rhodiola on there. It's good for energy. It's got the red fruits and vegetables. Then the green juice, a little bit of ashwagandha, a little bit better for CNS adaptation. Then the gold juice for inflammation and relaxation. So that's why you go morning, afternoon, evening would be the way to do it. And then with that, it looks like they're doing a discount. It's just kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, kind of
very cool.
Yeah,
kinda cool
25% off.
Organifi is the best, especially with the way everything tastes too.
Oh, dude, I got to tell you, Justin. You know what they just found? They just found some ruins that suggest that barbarians and Vikings used natural stimulant drugs before going into battle.
I believe
In
it.
particular, they found these little tiny like spoons and stuff that they would use to sniff and snort stimulants. Yes, dude.
Wow.
How do they make these leaps, dude?
Because they find residues on them, and they see they see the size of them, and they are with warriors. So yeah, you're right. They're guessing, but it's
toxicology, archaeology. I've heard something along these lines. Like again, this is like the Oracle of Delphi. Like they have a lot of like trace elements there that like showed that the tea had some kind of psychedelic herbs and things in it. But yeah, so
when did Coke get popular?
Oh, I don't know.
That's a good
That's a
question.
good. Well, traditionally it was used for a
You gotta
while,
be really processed,
but not
right?
cocaine. It was like the coca leaves.
Yeah, because cocoa leaves, I'm imagining, have been around for.
Well,
Sure.
they would use them in the
Was it Peru or Chile or
Peru,
Yeah,
I
down
think.
there. Yeah.
So I want to say my wife. I think it was my wife when she used to travel with Cirque du Soleil. So she's been all over the world. And when they were hiking in these high mountains because of the
Andes.
altitude,
Yeah.
they would have them chew
Yep.
on coca leaves.
It was
And-
cultural. Yeah.
Yeah, so you would chew on the coca leaves to help you, and I'm like, that was cocaine, honey.
Yeah.
She's like, oh,
Yeah.
It's-
Nice.
yeah.
So I mean, that makes sense if like, okay, that's an area where that plant grows, and you could prove that it was a crop there, and then you also find the tools where they would be snorting. But it seems like such a leap because you found a little round tool.
Yeah.
No, I think we do know for sure that they would take psychedelics. Not for sure, but it's pretty close. That they would take psychedelics. They were called berserkers,
The berserkers.
and they would
the
take
thin red line.
They were the front line, and
Yeah.
they'd give them psychedelics. They'd rip their clothes off or wear like animal skins,
Yeah.
and then they'd be the first ones in.
They're all on mushrooms, and yeah, they'd be the first in there. And two, because I don't know if it was Ireland or Scotland, they had all the red-haired crazies. You know, that's where the whole thin red line thing came
Oh,
from.
I never heard that.
You know what's funny? I wonder if that's too what. Remember, like how the Dare cops would tell you about like LSD and shrooms. and that?
PCP.
Yeah, PCP tell you. Well,
Who the hell does PCP? I've never in my life seen anybody
know.
or been around
I've never.
anything like
You just
that.
seen
Oh, I thought Doug
videos
was
of
a chime
somebody
in about
Doug- Doug brought up his mic
Doug
like
brought his mic up. I
I've
was like,
tried it
"Whoa,
once.
tell us, Doug. Tell us some PCP
let me tell
stories."
you all
My
about
friend
it.
Bob.
I had my dad.
What
had
is it?
a tranquilizer? Right? Look it up.
I
Doug.
don't know.
Look up how to make
Because
it.
it gives you like superhuman powers.
Well, no, what it is you don't feel pain.
That angel dust, right?
Not that you're. So that's why
Is that considered angel dust?
I think so.
I thought angel dust was another
that's
slang for cocaine
I thought it was or
I thought it was mescaline.
or
yeah,
heroin.
you're the drug dealer.
No, not those drugs.
Man, I got to do some research.
I
You
was
didn't do
just-
the high margin.
No,
drugs.
yeah, no, I was I was just pretending.
Yeah.
That's what real drug dealers would say. He's just pretending.
Yeah, anesthetic.
Okay. So
what did it say? What?
anesthetic,
Is it? Yeah.
anesthesia.
Yes.
Oh,
so you don't feel pain doing crazy things.
Phencyclidine or something to that effect.
What's it derived from? What kind of plant or what's it come from?
I think it's a synthetic drug. I think it's literally a pharmaceutical.
So is that what we're just using it for? When are we going to use something like that?
Anesthesia.
So is it literally the same thing?
Well, anesthesia is a whole class of drugs.
I know. Like
I think that's what it was used for, and then people would use it recreationally, is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Is it synthetic or is it derived from anything?
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. It is angel dust, though.
Oh, you were right about that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Way to go, Doug.
Yeah, I
5
got
points
something
for you.
right. Yeah.
My dad had an employee.
I'll take 500, Alex, for drugs that none of us have done.
None of us know anybody even that's tried.
I'm going to give you the answer on the synthetic or natural. It's synthetic.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah. So what are the effects of it? Look up the effects. Like what is type?
So it was actually used as an anesthetic in the 1950s, injected as an anesthetic. And you were asking what? I'm sorry?
Like, what are the effects? Why do people do it?
Well, numbs the shit out of you.
Yeah, but it must feel good. Otherwise, why the hell would anybody take it?
Well, I mean, imagine if you had a bunch of pain and then you took something like that, you wouldn't feel no pain, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's people with backaches that take PCP. It's like they're getting high.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of drugs are used for not what they were intended for.
That's what I'm saying. So I was going to say, my dad had an employee that
did PCP,
got high on PCP,
really,
and at one point came to work high as hell. My dad had to subdue him. My dad had to subdue him. And my dad's like, I for sure broke his shoulder. My dad did judo. He's like, I for sure broke his shoulder, but I had to keep holding him there.
You know what? Fighting. You just reminded me. My stepdad told me a PCP story. Now
there was a thing in the 80s.
It was, and he was a contractor, and he came to work.
It was a big thing.
And he did some crazy
blue collar guys.
The 80s were wild.
And he did some shit where he like cut a finger off or something like crazy, and just kept on going like it was no big deal. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I have to ask him that story.
Wow.
So it changes your mood. It's a hallucinogen. So you'll see things.
Oh, wow.
You'll have a good time, I guess.
Well, my point of bringing that up, though, was that...
That's the famous stories from the 80s came from PCP.
So,
yeah, probably.
So what made me bring that up, though, is that you're saying that that's how they used for the frontline guys, right, to go do something crazy and stuff like that. I feel like that's the way the DARE guy would talk about if you ever did shrooms or you did LSD, it would make you jump off buildings and do crazy stuff. And so I'm sure that it came from the history of how they used it.
My mom told the only time we ever talked about drugs when I was a kid is my mom told me story. She would scare me. Is what she did. And so one time she told me, she's like, "Oh, LSD." Because I asked her, I said, "Mom, what's LSD?" She's like, "Oh, this kid one time did LSD and he sat in the corner. He thought he was an orange." And I was like, "What?"
I am now orange.
Random story. I
was like, "What?"
I'm very citrusy.
Kudos to Mom for coming out with something original.
She's like, in the 60s and 70s, they would put it on stamps. So you had to be careful if you licked a stamp or something like that, and you could get it or whatever. Which is a myth, by the way. Look that up. Nobody ever did that. Nobody's giving away free
my parents
drugs.
never talked to me about drugs. Did your parents talk to you about drugs?
No. They told me if I ever tried them, you're going to be kicked out of the house. If I ever do anything, you're going to be kicked out of the house. If you're going to do this, you're going to be kicked out of the house.
Yeah.
I told you the story of my mom. They thought I did. So I didn't do any drugs as a kid. I was like a good kid, right? So I didn't do any, not even pot, nothing, right? And I threw a party at my house. This was when I was 16 or 17. So I was graduated high school at 17. So it's probably 16. Junior year, senior year in high school. Parents were out of town, threw a big party at my house. Had the house spotless and cleaned, everything put back together, got away with the party. 2 weeks later, after the party is over, getting up to milk the cows, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, brushing my teeth, right, half awake. And my mom comes in the bathroom and slams a glass bubbler on the counter. What the fuck is this?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I don't know.
I didn't know. Imagine how angry she got.
But of course you don't believe you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm mad at how angry she got when I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
What is that?
Yeah, so she was so pissed. I mean, I think it was grounded for a year. I don't know if they held it for
Oh, my God.
It was grounded for, yeah, no, they did. They grounded me for a year. I think they stuck to like 3 months before they finally let it go. But I tell this story because fast forward, I'm in my mid to late 20s. Long after I've been long gone on my own, have my own house. My mom and I are actually hanging out one night at my house, just staying up late telling stories. And I was laughing, saying, "You remember you thought I did drugs when I was in high school?" And she goes, "You did do drugs in high school. Don't you remember?" And she tells the story.
I was like, "Mom, that wasn't mine."
"Mom, that wasn't mine." And she's like, "Oh, get out of here. There's no reason for you to lie." I'm like, "Well, that's exactly. There's no reason for me to lie. You can't do shit to me anymore." I was like, that was my buddies who left it up. Like like a typical stoner, put it above the stove and forgot about it and left it up there. And then my mom, looking for a cookbook or something, grabbed it one day. And then I said, yeah, it was not mine. And she still, like, we went back and forth for a good half hour.
And then she believed you?
I mean, I don't know. You have to ask her the next time you see her, did you believe your son didn't smoke pot in high school? Because I think she believed without a she also knew I went to parties and did all that stuff like that. And I had a lot of friends that were stoners too. So, I mean, if you're a parent.
Well, I mean, think about it. In her shoes, you wouldn't believe you.
My dad drug tested me anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
So I've never been drug tested.
You actually got drug tested.
Yeah, dude. It was a new policy at work. Why is nobody else getting tested?
Did you know when he did that?
Yeah, I knew exactly what he was doing.
You knew he was up to.
Yeah.
You didn't fall for it.
I mean, the only thing is I tried it like maybe twice in my life, and was just like, did the whole, Bill Clinton puff thing where I didn't inhale. I'm going to be fine, dude. I'm going to be fine. And then I started getting paranoid because somebody told me it like stays in your hair for like ever. And I was like, I'm going to shave my head. And I was like, I shaved my head and I'm looking for gold seal. I had literally had it twice, like ever,
Oh yeah, the herb golden seal?
Yes, the gold seal. I was like researching. I was trying to find somebody that had it. I was so paranoid. Came back clean. And then it just went on like nothing happened. I'm like, dude.
How old were you the first time that you smoked weed?
I was junior high.
Junior high?
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's early, bro. What about you?
7th grade.
Loser.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Fuck you guys.
Let's
talk about volume.
Moving along.
Anyway, let's change the subject real quick.
What?
I was freshman or sophomore in high school.
Oh, high school
And
too.
I did it, and I thought, do you guys remember the myth where they said you won't feel it the first time you do it?
Bro,
no matter what you do.
I screwed myself because of that myth.
So did I.
Yeah.
What a bullshit. This is before the internet was really popular, so you got crap information.
Terrible information.
So I'm like, I'm doing this as my first time. I want to feel it.
This is another one of those stories of you and I that are so eerily similar.
So
dude.
weird, bro.
I was in my 20s at this time. So I had already, I had long past high school. I'm in my 20s, already have my house, I'm coming back. I know, I'm a grown ass man. I'm coming back to hang out with my buddies. We're in our 20s, and it was hanging out at an old apartment and there's probably 10 of us. These are my stoner friends, and they had been trying to get me to smoke weed since I was a kid. And no. Now I'm like, you know what? I'm a responsible adult. Have my own house. Like this time, and they were like, listen, you probably won't feel it your first time. You're not going to feel it. It's like,
what a lie.
And so I intentionally smoked them all under the table. They were done. I'm like, all right, give me some more. I want to make sure I feel this. And it was the worst experience of my life. I freaked out. Dude. Freaked out.
Prayed the whole time, probably.
Yes. I cried. I called one of my buddies who came over.
Hear my skin growing.
Held me all night long, and he's just like, don't talk.
Wait, your friend held you?
Yes, dude. I fell asleep as a grown man with another grown man holding me and telling me it's going to be okay.
Oh my God.
And every time I would talk, everything would be in loops.
Yes.
And I remember just
that.
like, I can't. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. And I don't think I touched weed for like another 10 years after that.
I wonder if this whole you won't feel it the first time was like a propaganda to get kids to like, oh yeah, we're gonna make sure we mess them up the first time. So
like the dad with the cigar.
Because that's what I did. I was in the back of my buddy's car and they passed the pipe back and I was taking big because I'm like, I'm gonna feel it this time. And I got so paranoid and so scared and so it was terrible. And I'm like, I kept telling my girlfriend, I'm like, feel my heart. Is it beating?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I think it's beating. I'm like, I don't think it's beating.
I don't think it's beating.
I said, I don't feel my heart beating. I don't think it's like I thought I was gonna die. And then I went home hours later and I felt so bad about what happened. I walk in my house and of course it was a night that my parents decided to invite half of our family over. Like 30 people in my house. And I'm feeling so paranoid. I went straight upstairs and my mom knew something was going on. She followed me. And she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I came up with like a partial truth. It was a lie, but it was a partial truth. I'm like, my friends smoke weed. And I started crying. I think I got high on accident. She's like, okay.
I got contact.
It blew it in my face.
It did it in the car. I couldn't.
How do I tell her?
Doug, how old were you? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was like a freshman in high school when I tried it.
You young too, huh?
Yeah.
Wow, you and Justin are losers.
Yeah, I know.
Real degenerates.
I'm paying for it still.
I had no idea. No idea that you guys were like
What's wrong with
that.
you guys?
Yeah.
We were hardcore. Dude.
I swear. You guys were hardcore.
It doesn't even count anymore. Everybody's
Oh, hey,
When it was illegal, dude. Boom.
Yeah.
You know, you bunch
Did
of
we
noobs.
talk about both of our partners? Did we?
Yeah, we did. Well, actually, I was going to bring up Butcher Box.
Oh, bring
I
them
want to
up.
ask you,
Yeah.
Adam, because
Yeah.
you're really good about like food,
Smoking my meat.
no, not just that. Feeding your like Max really healthy meals.
Yeah.
You know, my kids. I've brought this up before, but what we often do is we'll take their grass-fed ground beef and I'll add a little taco seasoning, salt. I'll make a big thing of rice, and that will feed my kids all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy, all the time. They'll always eat it, no matter what, and it's so healthy. It's like it's the best thing.
So I have a go-to recipe meal thing that me and Katrina eat all the time, which is it's the grass-fed ground beef that we make. I threw like 4 or 5 of those so fill up a massive iron skillet, and then saute mushrooms and onions, and I'll be cooking rice, and then I just mix it all together, and it makes this big old dish. The garlic and the butter on the mushrooms mixed with the sauteed onions and it's like you can do it in bulk. Max loves it. I love it. It's
Great macro
easy.
profile.
Macros are incredible on it. Digests really well. It is for sure like a go-to meal.
And it's got a good fatty acid profile because of the grass-fed.
so good.
Yep.
So good. I do have a shout out today.
Oh god,
So,
you're gonna shout out that.
Yes, I am going to shout it
Bro,
out.
I haven't laughed that hard in a
So-
long time.
That
So-
hurt my stomach. I was
Yeah,
laughing
this will
so
give the audience a little peek into our sense of humor because some people might not like this, but
hard.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
I
There's
just
bullying.
yeah,
or
whatever,
something. Yeah.
whatever. If you have no sense of humor like that, kick rocks. So I found this Instagram page, and it is Michael 2024, and all he does is he posts other viral clips, and then he highlights all the funny comments. So, and one of my favorite things
They're so bad.
is to read like viral clips and read the comments. I just think
people in
that,
the comments are just
We used to do that
comedians.
anyways. Yeah,
They're
but he's cultivated.
exactly. So that, I mean, I would do that anyway. Like, what gets me to watch a reel that goes viral more often than not is actually to go through and see the comments.
People are funny, dude.
And so what he's done is he's curated that for you. So there are all these viral clips, and then he highlights all like the top 25 comments that are on them.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
this one dude is like a martial arts guy, but he's like a big dude. And like people are kind of like, what guy wrote Chunk Norris?
Chuck Norris.
So this is like the internet is undefeated, and you
Yeah,
just
that's
get
good.
such, I mean, the witty, funny people. That's one of and I don't know. I just if you're into that stuff and make you laugh, it's a total laugh. You're not going to learn anything.
My
from
favorite
this
one,
Instagram.
the one that had me laughing so hard was like there were these daughters that were talking, and then the mom comes out and makes a comment, and they all look a little rough, and people are commenting. One of them said, I know there's some Cookie Monster pajama bottoms somewhere in that house. Why are those pajama?
Why is that
I
always true?
immediately know what they're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
What is it with Cookie Monster pajama
nail
bottoms?
it.
Here's another funny weird thing like that. So I saw this.
Cookie Monster
I saw some weird. Somebody made this comment about like bad, shitty drivers, and it's almost always some guy in a Nissan Maxima or Altima.
Why?
I don't know why.
That's so true.
But
It just
always
I'm
happens.
telling Katrina this. She goes, "That's not true." Literally, swear to God, this is a true story. This was just not that long ago. It was like maybe a month ago. I'm telling her this story. She's like, "How does that? That makes no sense." We're driving. Fucking, I get cut off by a Nissan Altima. Right? Like she was like, "Oh my God!"
Justified.
I'm like, "I told you." I was like, "It's such a random thing."
So weird.
It is so weird. I mean, I don't know. There's also a lot of that said about like, and this is I'm gonna offend everybody that drives the Dodge Demons or Challengers and stuff like that. Like that
Now
type
it's
of guy that shows up to the car
SUV,
show.
Those people drive those. You don't want to strangle.
Yeah.
Why?
The worst, dude. My commute every time, dude. Yes, they suck. Stop. Go home.
You want to use peptide science to radically change your skin for the positive, make it heal faster, look better, and younger. There's a company called Luminos by Intera. This is peptide science you won't find anywhere else. Go to interaskincare.com/MPM. Use the code MPM. Get 10% off your order. All right, back to the show.
First question is from Hannah Beast. How do you navigate through the new year, new me hype?
You know, what's interesting about this question is I have two perspectives. One of them is as maybe a gym member somebody who works out themselves, and the other is as a fitness industry professional, because it's an interesting experience on both sides. So as a person who works out consistently, I've been doing it for so long that New Year comes around, nothing really changes. But I do remember a time when this might have affected me, especially early days, where you start the new year off, motivation is at a really high level, and you tend to set yourself up for failure, because when you set goals in a hyper motivated state of mind, you don't have good foresight. You tend to imagine yourself as always having that motivated state of mind. Mm-hmm. And so this is where people mess up, right? They get started, they're not working out, they haven't in a long time, and they're like, that's it, New Year starts, I'm eating clean, I'm getting rid of everything out of my house, I'm gonna start working out 5 days a week, like we're taking it serious. And then of course, 3-4 months later, they fall off because they've set themselves up for terrible failure. So the most important part of this is to realize the state of mind you're in is not one that's going to stick around, and to try to be as realistic as possible with whatever goal you set for yourself. So you have to ask yourself, whatever I'm starting with, is this something that I can honestly say, I think I'll be able to maintain for the rest of my life? And you have to be as honest as possible and start there. Now, as a professional on the fitness side, this was actually a strategy that I used with brand new members and new clients. And as an early trainer, I would take advantage of this motivation. Someone would come in, get super hyped. I'd say, cool, you're going to work with me 5 days a week. You're going to work with me 4 days a week. We're going to buy all these different sessions of training. And later on, I was actually more successful by talking people down. They would come to me and say, I want to work out with you 4 days a week. And I'd say, well, how much are you doing now? They'd say, well, I'm not doing anything. And I said, we're going to start 1 day a week, and then we'll move it from there. And that strategy of talking them down resulted in far better results and consistency, and actually made me more successful as a trainer.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on what perspective this is coming from. Is this a person who would consider themselves a part of the hype and that they're trying to not fall off? Or is this like somebody who works in a gym or goes to a gym consistently already themselves, and they're complaining maybe about the overflow of traffic and all the people? So I guess that's what I'm not sure about. But I think your point is spot on as far as if it's you who's concerned about the hype, is that people always overcommit. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one of the most common. And it's the other thing too is not only do they overcommit on how much and what they're doing, but they also over apply. Like they don't even need to. So I think that's a big part of this too, is understanding that you're not going to get better results faster by doing 7 days a week. You may temporarily, but it won't be long term. And after you extend this over 3, 4, 6 months, a year, you're far better off committing to less and building on that and building that momentum. And
just from a results perspective.
Yes. I mean, that's going to give you better results. It's more realistic to sustain it. So that would be the thing that I would be careful of, is that people get hyped up and then they fall in the trap of, if I do more, I'm going to get more results. Yeah. And that's not necessarily true in this situation at all. And you're far better off of, hey, I just came off the holidays. I haven't been really working out. I've been inconsistent. I've been doing all these things. I've been eating bad. I've been not hitting my protein intake. I haven't been going to the gym. I haven't been doing my walks. I haven't been trying to sleep, or I haven't been trying to focus on my sleep. It's like, pick 1 or 2 things that you can instantly implement and make change to improve your overall health, and just stick to that and then build on that.
Focus on those lifestyle things first. If you haven't attacked that even before the whole hype even begins, it's like, can I address some of these things that I do every single day? Can I switch one thing I do every single day and keep that consistent? Whether that's like just getting outside and going for a little walk, after a meal, or whatever it is that you're going to do. You're going to drink more water. It's just a very basic thing that you're going to focus on consistently hitting. Once we get a lot of the lifestyle things that are like a consistent pattern that you've established, then we can really start tackling more on as we go. But it's just such a better approach than trying to just throw the whole kitchen sink at it.
Yeah, you're dealing with what you're trying to accomplish. Remember, you're trying to accomplish lifelong, ideally, right? Lifelong behavior change. That doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Unless you have an epiphany, which is so rare. That's why it's called an epiphany. It's so rare for that to happen. I haven't even, look, I used to have clients. I have clients that were members, I would say, that would come in after having terrible health scares, and that didn't even give them the epiphany they needed to completely change their life. So don't rely on that. Even though right now you may be listening to this and you feel like you've had that epiphany. It's January. That's it. I've never been in such terrible shape. I'm going to change everything. No, the data shows very clearly that you are wrong. So start with something that is realistic and start there. And again, the data supports and shows very clearly that is a much more sustainable, realistic approach. It also works better. Adam's point is very true. The body adapts better that way. If you do too much, you apply too much stress on your body, it won't adapt very well. And you're actually setting yourself up for so much failure that you'll discourage yourself.
Well, especially if it's negatively motivated. If all it is you're seeing all these deficits and horrible like behaviors that you have that you need to correct, and you're not going into this trying to better your health with like better habits and improve on positive things, like you're gonna end up torturing yourself and quit.
Yeah, 100%. And then as trainers, if you're as a coach or trainer listening right now, one of the best tips I could give you, if you want to be successful, as defined by clients that get good results for forever, and as defined through your business as building a good business, one of the best tips I can give you is to underpromise and overdeliver. You get a new client that's super excited and wants to do everything with you, talk them down, start them off realistically. You're going to find far more success across the board with that than you are trying to capture the motivation and try to push them through when the motivation fails, because they will leave you if you do it that way and you will lose a client.
Next question is from Tinook Seartap. Any benefits to acupuncture related to muscle building or fat loss?
Have you guys done acupuncture yet?
Oh, yeah.
I've never done it. I've always been curious to do it.
You know, there's two ways we can look at acupuncture. One is we can look at the data, and the data's mixed. When it comes to pain, the data seems to show that acupuncture is beneficial. When it comes to other issues, it's a bit mixed. Now, the critiques on the data is that acupuncture can be done very well. It can be done very poorly. There's also a very individual component to acupuncture, so depending on who you go to. Then the other end of this is a practice that has been around for, I don't know, I think it's thousands of years, if I'm not mistaken. I think acupuncture has been around for thousands of years. Now, I like studies. I like data. I like the double-blind, placebo-controlled gold standard. But if something is stuck around for thousands of years and it's because it's been shown to have value, I consider that to be as valuable as a double-blind, placebo-controlled study. Okay, so where am I going with this? Yeah, I think acupuncture works, for sure. I definitely do. Now, I've had personal experience with it, and I've had clients that have had profound experiences with it. I mean, the first time, I'll tell you guys a story. I think I've told you guys this before. My first real experience with acupuncture, there was a woman. So when I had my wellness studio, we had developed these wonderful networks of other practitioners. And I had done acupuncture before, and it was kind of lackluster. Well, anyway, one of the people in my studio had found this acupuncturist that was, I guess she was exceptional. That's the way she described it. She's like, she's amazing. You got to go see her. She's great. And I was super skeptical. I'm like, I've tried acupuncture. I don't know if I noticed anything. She's like, no, you got to see this woman. So I go to this woman super skeptical, and she does her tests on me and uses Chinese medicine to describe what's going on. And at this time, I was like all Western medicine. So I'm like rolling my eyes, right? And she goes, oh, you have too much yang energy. We need to balance it with yin, this, that, and the other. And she said, I can give you a treatment that is good, or I can give you a very aggressive treatment, but I won't give you the aggressive treatment if you're going back to work. I'll only give you the aggressive treatment if you're going to go home. Because I'm like, why? And she goes, well, you won't be able to work very well, and it's probably not safe to drive. And in my head, I'm thinking like, right, we'll see about that. So I'm like, give me my literal words to her were, I'm going to go home, which I wasn't. I lied. I said, give me the most aggressive treatment you can give me. So she said, you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm positive. So she did this. She did her acupuncture on me. I laid on the table. I got up, and she said, okay. She's like, make sure you're home within an hour. I said, yeah, no problem. And I went back to work, started training clients. Sure enough, about an hour later, it felt like I took sleeping pills and Xanax at the same time. I got I had to cancel my appointments and take a nap in the back. everything came down so hard. And then I was like, I totally bought in, and she did certain things for me for pain, for function. I had clients that I would send to her. It was exceptional. So yes, I think there's some benefits. I don't know if it'll help directly with muscle building or fat loss, but through the improvement of health. And I think it works with the central nervous system. That's my theory.
Yeah,
I definitely think there's value.
Well, I think it absolutely can. If you think that self-myofascial release, foam rolling, is beneficial towards,
or massage.
Or massage is beneficial. When you understand what's really happening when you do foam rolling and massage on why it seems to work or feel good, then it makes sense why acupuncture works. I think until I understood what was really happening with the foam roll, I think I didn't believe and understand what was going on with acupuncture and thought it was woo-woo and, oh, this can't be working.
Yeah.
How is this possible? But when you understand what happens with the foam roll and what it does to the CNS, calming it down because you have this overactive, then it makes complete sense that taking these little needles and hitting these
Dampening
points,
that protective signal.
yeah, hitting these points that are overactive and firing like crazy, which is causing you to tighten and seize up, which is causing this chronic pain. That putting these needles strategically in your body calms that signal down, then now allows you to move more freely, then allows you to do exercises and do things like that. Then yeah, absolutely, it makes sense that
There are, by the way, there are
unlock ranges of motion.
There are established. So Western medicine will tell you there are already established parts of the body. So Western medicine's way behind, right, when it comes to this. But they'll even tell you, like, if you're pregnant, you're in your 9th month of pregnancy, like 3rd trimester, there are parts of the body they say do not massage, don't, because it could trigger labor. There's also referred pain, right? The famous one being left arm pain when you have you're starting to have a heart attack or whatever.
Yep.
There are areas that you could pinch and push on that will cause a migraine to potentially go away and stuff. So I think acupuncture works through the central nervous system. I think the way that Chinese medicine practitioners explain it doesn't make sense to our modern, Western science approach. So they'll say things like the meridians and the, lines of energy and all that stuff. And you're gonna be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I don't care. I think it works. It's been around for thousands of years. And what I always tell trainers is when you build your network of people on the short list, I always include acupuncture. So I definitely think it's valuable when you find a good person.
It's interesting you mentioned that because when football, when I get a stinger, I'd pinch right here and it would help quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
The January special is here. We have 4 workout program bundles: the new to weightlifting bundle, the body transformation bundle, the New Year extreme intensity bundle, and the body transformation bundle 2.0. Every single one of those workout program bundles is $300 off retail. It's a massive sale. If you're interested, go to mapsjanuary.com. All right, back to the show.
Next question is from Kathy Biker. Thoughts on assisted stretching labs? Is it worth it?
I haven't done one of these.
They're popping up like crazy.
So is this assisted stretching, I'm assuming, is like somebody holding
Stretch
you.
labs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're popping up all over the place.
And they're doing static stretch with that, right? Or
Is it static
Is it
where they're putting in a
PNF?
like
position?
PNF.
Oh, I think it's great.
PNF would be great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For range of motion, for overactive central nervous system, I think it's great. I think combining it with exercise would be exceptional then.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things that, because the question follows up with, is it worth it? I mean, I guess it depends on your financial capabilities, right? Do I think that you could actually apply a lot of these techniques to yourself and get the same type of relief? Yeah, but then it's work. It's just like the same kind of relief that I get from massage therapy. I could, foam roll and do a lacrosse ball and do all these mobility drills, but I love that I could pay somebody, lay down on a table, close my eyes.
They're going to direct it.
Yeah, pay somebody else to give me that relief. But that's a luxury, right? So, I mean, I think that people that can afford to do it, I think it's awesome. And absolutely, I think it's worth it if you can afford to do it. If you can't, it doesn't mean you can't still get those same benefits on yourself. There's tools and things that you can use to give you the same benefits as you're getting from assisted stretching. To me, it's like a luxury to be able to do.
Well, I think it's to your point of it being work. To get clients to abide by a lot of these mobility practices and daily rituals, and it's always a challenge, for coaches to, really sell that to their clients and get them to be consistent with it and to have other options of accountability. I think, going to a place like this and having it structured so the instructor takes them through and kind of works on the most challenging. I think too, I would have like specific clients that have very challenging ranges of motion. This is definitely somewhere I would send them to get that extra bit of work, so it doesn't feel like so much work. I'm just constantly like throwing at them all the time. They have somebody sort of directing that exclusively.
Yeah, you know who would benefit a lot from this too are people who do a lot of consistent strength training, bodybuilders. There is a hypertrophy
100%
benefit from this. You actually get a little bit of, and the data shows us pretty clearly, you'll grow some muscle. Now it's limited. It's not like strength training, but you'll build more muscle by doing this. And if you do a lot of strength training, and you're always towing the line of between.
You're so sympathetic. You're barely ever in parasympathetic.
I attribute the success I had in bodybuilding to Katrina massaging me every day.
Yeah,
every day she was either stretching or massaging me. And looking back, not having
made the muscles fuller.
I could train more. I could the volume and intensity I could apply at such a high rate because it's a form of active recovery.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So somebody who's helping you recover and you're getting it all the time, like, oh my God, and that's, it's not like the difference in one visit. It's like, oh wow, I built 10% more muscle because I did one massage therapist or I did one thing of stretching. It's like, it's the accumulation of consistently doing that, the added benefit, and the more time that I can train, the more volume and intensity I can apply over a period of time, that's where it really starts to add up. And so, yeah, if you have the luxury to add things like this.
But even with that, Adam, the studies on this kind of stretching and hypertrophy, there is a muscle building effect. In fact, if you strength train a lot and you do one of these classes or you do this on your own, do long static stretching. And then when you're done with it, like really good static stretching, like you're holding it for a long period of time, you're in there for 2 minutes, you're breathing through it. When you're done with it, stand up, look in the mirror, you have a little bit of a pump. You'll actually get a little bit of a pump from this. So for bodybuilders, this is a tremendous value.
Next question is from Jonathan Sosh. Do you think BPC 157 would work for an older bicep tendon injury?
Yes, but it'll help. But here's the deal. Like, you can get a tendon to heal faster, but if you don't fix why it's injured or inflamed, you're just going to get, it's the same problem.
Yep.
You're just going to run into it again. So it's like, you're fixing a hinge on your door, but you're not fixing the fact that your door is
pulling on it. Off the hinge.
And so the hinge is going to keep breaking. So the BPC 157, which I think now, I don't know if you can get BPC 157 anymore. I think now you have to get Pentadeca Orgonite, which is essentially the same thing. It's just a little different. They're really good about getting around the regulators. It does accelerate healing and repair, actually quite remarkably. So if you do use this and you don't combine it with correctional exercise, you are stupid. I mean, there's no better word to describe a person that uses something like BPC and doesn't do correctional exercise. Like, why? Why are you doing that? You've wasted this beneficial peptide because you're going to go back to where you were before. Now, if you combine it with correctional exercise, magic. These things are absolute magic. And I would combine this, if you're looking for like the holy grail of recovery and repair, you would go BPC with thymosin beta and correctional exercise. And what you're probably looking at is something like a 50% reduction or more in time for healing or repair. So like a huge difference. So if it would take you 3 weeks or 3 months to get better from an injury or inflammation, basically cut it in half with those two peptides plus correctional exercise versus correctional exercise alone.
It has to be in combination with the correctional exercise and mobility practice and just constant better pattern sequencing. And so that's really to get beyond where you are stuck and continuously aggravating it. We need to build those better patterns. But it'll help absolve that.
Those are the two knocks that I have on the BPC 157. One knock is it actually works so well.
You're like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm good, which I've made this mistake more than once. Like feeling so good so fast that you go right back to, intense training too soon. So that's it. One knock. The second knock is the point about pairing this with corrective work, mobility work, because even if you had an acute injury, right? Let's say it was a freak accident that you tore the bicep or something like that, what will happen because of the injury is you will have these, your body will compensate because of the injury. And if you don't address the compensation while you go through the recovery process, then even when you heal and get better, you're not going to be.
Now you're moving weird.
Yeah, you're moving off, which will then later on manifest in shoulder pain or elbow pain or wrist pain or some pain somewhere else from that point. And so it's important that you pair those together. That's my one fear with a lot of people, because it's become very popular now. It's no longer under, like it used to be, gray market undercover, say 10 years ago, where it's become wildly popular now. Now you're seeing, like my mother-in-law, 70 years old, texts me literally 4 days ago, hey son, is this okay for me to take? My neck is hurting me, and it's pill form, BPC 157, and I'm just like, yeah, that's not really for what you got going on, Mom. You've got chronic pain. You'd be better off with the massage. And then I gave her something for inflammation. I said, but for this, that's more like tendon repair or damage for tissue. And again, it's not addressing the root cause, which is what I was trying to explain to her too.
By the way, at mphormones.com, that's where you can get it from a doctor, because Adam mentioned gray market. That's we don't go gray market. I don't mess around with that, because who knows what's in that. But okay, so here's the other part of this is, it may actually also make correctional exercise possible for some people, because not often, this is rare, but in some cases, the injury or the issue is so bad or so tough to move through that the person can't even do the right correctional exercise because it hurts too much or there's too much protection going on. I believe in some cases, I wish I had this in the past, because there were many cases where I had clients, and man, it was a long road because they couldn't even do the correctional exercise. So we had to scale so far back and take such a step-by-step approach. But I would have loved something like this where it opened things up. Now we can move within a particular way and get to the more beneficial correctional exercise even faster. So this is like a godsend for a lot of people, but it has to be combined with good physical therapy or correctional exercise. Otherwise, you're just kicking the can down the road. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.